Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to Pieces Pat Paints. I'm Pat. That is the lovely Miss Kristen. She is joining us here today for Wednesday. For those of you who don't know how these shows go, Wednesday she is off work, so she comes and she hangs out with me, so that I kind of have someone else to talk to besides just talking like to the open air. Occasionally we get folks that stop by and chat with us too. So if you do stop by and you feel like chatting with us, please go ahead, throw that chat in there. We always try to respond to anybody who's coming by to talk. Yeah, that's about it. We're working on a little Godfrey today. Still trying to get all these parts to match up so that we can prime them and start getting everything done. Painted is what we're looking for. I looked all over the inside of our studio and I could not find this other hand. So we're going to go look in the car today when it cools off. If not, we'll be sculpting one. This would be interesting. It's not that hard of a thing. It's pretty easy deal. The gilding on the armor might get a little crazy, but I think I can probably get that to come out too, which is a little bit of work. Might delay us a little while. Hopefully that piece turns up. And then again, it might just not have gotten shipped. You never know. I'll have to ask. I have not asked Michael. I need to ask him. So see what he says. Anywho, I don't remember it dumping out anywhere. So I'm kind of wondering if maybe it was never part of what we had. So anyway. A lot of these pieces we are going to probably prime by themselves and put in here. Sometimes it's hard to tell which side's the right side on this thing. Oh, that's definitely the right one. Okay, so that goes on there. And it fits pretty okay. Maybe needs a little bit of some sanding. Some of this seems to be in the way a little bit. So we'll see what I can do with that. We'll put on a little bit of music. Today's music is by Cyber Guy Audio again. Kind of mix it up from our jazz jams we had with the cats, which was fun, but it's a little bit more back to our normal sound. So we gotta be careful here. We don't want to obscure any of our details. We are trying to get it to where it's going to sit down in there a little better. Maybe actually can file to this. The reason we want to do stuff like this is we want to make sure these parts are going to fit well. Before we start, trying to paint all. You want to do all the prep work first instead of like as you go. You can do some stuff as you go, and some stuff that you have to do as you go. But it is better to kind of try and get as much prep work done early as possible. And that's on everything, really. Any kind of art you're working on is definitely better to get that prep done first. It gets tedious and boring, but it is super important. I'll go ahead and finish filing down this post a little bit, just to make sure that it's not the post that's getting in the way. Pretty good little fit. There's a small gap down in there. You won't see this at all. This will all be covered up by the cloak. So I'm really wondering if we want to address this gap or not. I don't know that you would notice, honestly. So I think we're going to be okay. I do want to leave these parts off because I don't want to. That one fits pretty good. I want to paint this as is. I'm also trying to check for any places where maybe there's some leftover support parts or anything like that. There's a process. This axe comes in a few pieces here. Probably so we can slide it through his hands. That sucks though, because like there's going to be a split here. We'll have to see if we can't figure out how to work that. Okay. Interesting. Okay, well, it's right under his hand on that, so we should be able to get that going. Hey, how's it going, Jared? So that split is right here where his hand is, which is a pretty good place to do this. We can probably, when we get this attached, we'll be able to fake it. Now we're still missing this hand, so we're gonna have to find it or just craft another one. But it seems pretty easy. Most of the post is here for us, so that if we have to do that, that's gonna be all right. And we're gonna put it right down around that part of his. It'll mask that one completely, so we won't have to worry about that one. So we got a while before we have to worry about the weapon. I feel like these pieces will be easier to paint by themselves. Alright, so now let's take a look at this cloak. So we were kind of trying to figure this out yesterday. Alright, so this goes on here. There we go. And then somehow this is supposed to fit down on there. We have this weird spot right here though where this thing looks like it's supposed to connect inside there, but it is not necessarily connecting. Let's see what we got going on here. I think our best bet may actually be I need to take some of this down. Again, this is a piece, you're not going to see this at all anyway. So it's kind of irrelevant to our purpose. So we can get rid of it. Because it's not, it's obviously in the way of getting it to set down properly. And with it being something that we're not even going to see, this will be our first place to start trying to fix this. It's a lovely sound I've discovered here. Right? Yeah, that squeaker from that resin is something special.
I'm going to adjust in the Cheryl a lot, so there's other
right.
voices too. Can't hurt right at this point.
Right, might as well go for it. We're not talking about a lot of distance here. Get that down there. Please be careful doing this stuff. Hobby knives are hecka sharp. Hella sharp. Mighty sharp. Damn sharp. I just have massive calluses from years and years of cutting myself. Oh, he thought it was funny too.
He did. It's like me at work explaining to people the things that I'm touching are hot. I just can't feel anything.
Yeah. People don't think that's real until like...
Until they touch it. They're like, that's hot! It's like,
I tried to tell you that.
No.
Definitely tried to tell you. Almost there. Almost there. It's definitely something to do with that piece. I feel like it's wrong. That's supposed to sit. You can see where the indentation is right here. And if we can't get it to come down much further from that, then we'll have to cut that nub out so it'll sit flat against him and you don't have to look at that weird ass nub. Because it is something you can see. We don't want that. Alright, it's definitely easier to carve this piece. So we're going to go back to that. Another thing I need to do, make sure, is that it's all going to fit together right when we put the lion on top of there. So you kind of need to get this stuff in order first before we go putting more stuff on it. And that's another reason why we're here and doing the dry fitting now and the prep assembly stuff early. You always start off making sure your basics are taken care of. It's like building this is like a lot like building buildings. In building construction, if the foundation is wrong, then all bets are off. There's an awful lot of material gone out of there. Yeah. Now we're talking. There we go. Now that should fit on here real nice. Yeah. That's what we wanted. See, now it's all nice and compact. It all looks proper. All this stuff in here, right? There we go. Alright, so we're definitely looking at having to do a little bit of work right here. So we're probably going to need to go ahead and get a lot of this. We'll get a lot of this stuff painted and done. Then we'll put on this. We'll put on the cloak part, and we're going to have to do a little bit of. We're going to have to do a little bit of milli put right here at work here, but it will work better if we kind of get. We'll get this basic done, and we'll get all this stuff done behind here. Even though you're not really going to see it. We'll get all this stuff painted, so that part will be done. And then... what do you do with those legs? Oh yeah, they're still stuck in this. So we can definitely... the legs look like they're ready to go. I don't see any burrs or any strange things. So that's ready to go. I'm just going to stuck in there. Let's get a place to store. Okay. We got that figured out. We got the weapon figured out. The head fits in fine. Okay. Now, I think the only thing we had left to figure out was getting this head in there and getting his mane to set, so you can see how it's not coming all the way down. So we really need to. That's going to be a peg issue. So this peg's got to get taken down a little bit. We got to take it down a peg. Terrible jokes. Terrible jokes. You came here for the terrible jokes. I know you did. Be mindful where you're going. Make sure you're not sanding away something you don't want to sand away. Especially with this mane, it'd be really easy to accidentally start sanding these things. So just kind of watch. And don't be afraid to clear that dust off pretty regularly. Just to make sure you're not getting it all up in here too much and it looks like you're sanding it and you freak yourself out. That's mainly why you want to do it. I have not found the other hand yet, Mom. I'm probably going to have to sculpt another one. That's okay. We're going to figure it out. I don't remember seeing a hand, and I don't know that it had a chance to go anywhere. Luckily, it's an easy hand. It'll be, if I have to make one, it'll be an easy thing to make. It's not trying to do anything too crazy. It's got its hand wrapped around a axe, so that's as far as hands go. That's about as easy as it gets. Fists are a whole lot easier to make than like if your hand is out like this or something. Maybe the lion ate it in the box. Yeah, maybe the lion ate it. That is that's funny. Maybe the lion did eat it. Alright. Wrong way. A little closer. A little closer. Okay. Ah. Let's see. Sometimes it's better to change the type of file you're using. The shape of this one is flat, so it's a little bit easier to just go down to the bottom. The other one was a tip, so it was easier to kind of like work into the corners of things, but we're just trying to flatten out this side because, again, the whole idea is to make it easier for our peg to slide in here. We did a little work on the peg. We'll do a little work on this just to make sure it's cleared of any, I don't know, the material when it cured, or it might have burrs in it somehow from a stray support thing. Normally you don't set up your supports to be inside your slots, but you never know. Almost there. Let's see. Because we got to get, in order to get this to match up right, that's got to come all the way back down far enough for that to match up. And you can see kind of where it's just not quite low enough yet. It does take a minute. But this right here is easier to do than trying to mill prep all that together and, you know, cutting off the tab and all that. You could do all that, but it's so much easier just to do a little bit of file work and just kind of get it to set in there. Oh, that's pretty tight. Okay, now there we go. That's fitting out a whole lot better. Mine. Oh yeah. There we go. There he is. Now I'm not taking that back apart. We're gonna do this as one piece. There's not too much hard stuff to get in here to work on. Easy peasy. But getting this thing back apart and putting it together is gonna be a pain. And it's together. I'd have to like get a. Nope. Now I say that and I just pull it right apart. So we're gonna glue it. Let's go ahead and go put some glues in here, and we're gonna get there. It goes. Now we got it figured out. We're gonna glue this thing together and be done with it. Okay. First things first. This is just alcohol to kind of get the excess stuff off. This is those little makeup things again. I use these things for a lot of different stuff. Right now we're just going to help spread out the rest of that alcohol so it'll dry off easier. Now it's got alcohol on it. We can use it to clean up all the rest of this dust. The dust can kind of interfere with your glue. I am glad it came apart. I thought I had it stuck together and it wasn't gonna come apart. I was like, well, we're just gonna leave it. Okay. Okay, there we go. Nice and cleaned up. It was a lot of filing. That was a lot of filing. Okay. I love this gel glue. It really makes this a lot easier, honestly. Because you can set it at the entrances to things and it'll move down with it. All right. Okay. Alright, you want to be super careful with something like this. I'm going to put it right here on his chest. I'm not going to put too much pressure on this, but this clamp is going to help us get this sit nice and tight for us. So we don't have to sit here and hold it. There we go. We'll set it off to the side. And we're going to let it finish drying up. And that is great. We are now, with the exception of finding that other piece or sculpting the other piece, we're ready to start doing a little bit of priming. I did not believe we were going to get that far today, but hey, here we are. Clear up this dust. All right. Heck yeah. Alright, so we're going to kind of have to work through this bits at a time. We're going to go ahead and prime up this torso so that we can get started on it. I'll probably get the legs done today. How much time we got? Oh, 34 minutes in. That's not bad at all. I thought we were like, I thought we only had like 10 minutes left.
Oh, nope. Rock and rolling.
Yep. This is my favorite part about the mill put thing is when you start putting the primer on it and it disappears and it starts to look like the rest of everything else.
Right. Like it was always there. And try to keep your strokes pretty clean, but it is primer, so the idea is definitely to get up under things and
and in the cracks, and make sure that it's all got paint so that we don't see any of that resin left afterwards. So don't be afraid to get up in there. That's why it's probably a good idea to use one of your junk brushes, things you don't care about, because we'll be correcting a lot of stuff later on. And the way primers usually go on is they don't leave a lot of brush strokes, as long as you don't, put it on too heavy. Anything you put on heavy, of course, is going to have, brush strokes. The heavier the paint, the more the brush strokes. And sometimes you want that, but primer, we don't want that. Because now with the primer on here and the orange gone, it really does start to look like there was never a gap there at all. It just looks like the fur coming out from underneath his coat. What's that?
My foot fell asleep. It's all tingly and hurting now.
Oh no. That's no good. Now remember, we're going to have to do a little bit of work up here at the top, so I'm probably going to leave the very tip tops of that without any work on it at all for now. And then I don't need primer in this section or here, because we're going to paint, or we're going to glue it, and we don't want to glue paint to something. We want to glue the items to each other. It seems like a no-brainer, but you'd be surprised how many times you'll make that mistake. It's such a common mistake when putting together models and painting models, especially when you're trying to stage it like this, where we're doing one part at a time, and we're kind of trying to work as we go. It's really easy to accidentally prime over something that you really shouldn't have, because you're going to have to glue it. And here I'm just making sure I got all these little bubbles popped. Chainmail loves to make bubbles in your paint. And it's such a great set of mail. I want to make sure we really have it there to accentuate. See a few of the layers from the printing. There hasn't been a whole lot of that. You can see where it definitely struggled in this area. Something happened. So this is an interesting deal. Kind of hard to see it in the camera. But you can kind of see where the back has that little bit of a different stripe to it. It's right here. Now what that looks like when you're looking at it with clear eyeballs in person is a bunch of tiny little striations. And what that is the printer had some sort of issue during the print. And it could have been like the temperature or the humidity in the room that they were printing in changed a little bit. You know what I mean? So like, if it changes more than like 5 or 10 degrees, it can affect the print. And it's just stuff that happens. You just kind of have to get used to it and know how to get around it. It shouldn't make too much of a difference in this paint job. We're going to try and paint it in a way that you can't tell that that's there. And overall, it's not a bad, really not a bad print. I mean, if we're bitching about some little mistake like that, we're really kind of getting picky. Because even if you buy, like, you know, formed plastic where they put it on the sprues and stuff, you're not guaranteed that it's going to be perfect. When I built that Millennium Falcon up there, listen, because that thing's from like the 80s or 90s, so that model is not especially well made. They were made on the cheap and nobody really expected kids to actually build them. I think they just kind of, oh, here's a model for you. Maybe you'll build it. Maybe you won't. We bought you something Star Wars for Christmas. Here you go. Definitely want to use up all our paint and all of our time today. I'm still kind of getting used to this this morning slot. I think I like it better, but I'm not exactly sure. We've already had more people talking today than we have in a while, so that was good. I've considered moving it more to an evening time slot as well. That might be, if we can't get traction here in the daytime, we can move it to the evening and check that out. Kind of a later version, like 9 o'clock to 10 o'clock or something. It's so weird painting gray on gray. It kind of trips my brain out a little bit, makes me short circuit just a little bit. I'm like, oh, wait a minute, that's not painted. That's not the right color gray. See another round of those striations right here. Might be fun to make those look like a tattoo. He's got a tribal tattoo because he's that badass. He's got an affliction shirt on underneath. He smells like an axe because he uses Axe body spray. But what? Sometimes I just want to, smell like an axe.
Sometimes.
Oh, goodness sakes. Okay. I will say this guy's pegs are a lot sturdier than our girl Melania. Her pegs were not very well done. Mom said, "Bless you." Thanks, Mom. I appreciate it. It was from that dust. That's why I sprayed it off. I sprayed it down. If it starts getting aerosol in here, I'll be sneezing for hours. Better just to clean it up when you can. The particulates of this are very fine. So if you're using like a roto sander, you're not just using a little file. Make sure you're wearing a mask. The little file's not a big deal. I'm just going to give me the sneezes and the sniffles. But if I had a bunch of it going, like if I were working on it with, like a rotary tool or a sander, I would definitely want to be wearing a mask. It's going to kick up a lot of dust, and that's just not good for your lungs. And I'm looking out for you, troops. Again, I'm just kind of... It may look like I'm jamming this brush in, but I'm really not. I have a lot of control. It just goes really fast. But you might feel like you need to do that, or that you are doing that. And that's why you don't use one of your... We're not in here using our Kolinsky Sable brushes to do this. We're using... This is an old, big, fatty. I've had this thing for a while. And it's a real bristle. It's real hair bristle. It's just not a expensive hair. Not exactly sure what animal it came from, but it's definitely not really clean, silky horsehair. This is some like a donkey or something. Like a donkey. That's fun. It is. It's like some sort of... Clean it off. And you can see this is not the finest of hairs brushes. But I've had it forever. I bought this brush like years and years and years ago. I've had it for a long time. It was part of the group of I bought like a whole bunch of brushes in a box at a garage sale or something.
That's funny.
Yeah, and this is one of them. I've had it forever, but it's not it's cheap. It's not quite as bad as those old wooden brushes you buy at the hardware store, but it's definitely not a Kolinsky Sable where just a very different kind of look to a brush. But man, it primes the heck out of stuff. That's what I had Awen use to prime her lantern there. Oh yeah, Mom wanted to see the lanterns. This is the lantern she was working on yesterday. So, and it lights up.
They're super cute. They're a fun find.
And they stay on. There we go. It's pretty cool. Well, she's got a long way to go. She just did the green. Prime didn't do the green. Priming it kind of wore her out. It's a lot of people always forget to do those sort of things. And there's a reason why we have spray primers. It makes it a lot easier. But she definitely, by the time she got done with the primer, she was like, "Yeah, I'm going to paint this green on, and I think I'm done." It's like, okay. But that's okay. She can come back next week and work on it some more.
Yeah, and it's all ready to do the really fun parts now.
Yes. That's why. I mean, the same thing that we're doing here, and just getting all this prep work done early and quickly, so that we can kind of have fun with the rest of the stuff. And that's the same with your colorings. Whenever you got to ink something in, you're picking up your colors and you're getting all your supplies together, and there's some prep to be done. With coloring in something, a lot of times the prep is picking the color palette, but sometimes you've got to draw in a little stuff, or you've got to bring in some gesso and blot stuff out,
Yeah.
Like, ooh, that looks weird, that needs to go. Especially with the rise of AI coloring books. The rise of AI coloring books has gotten to where you really kind of need to make sure you've got some gesso or some whiteout, or was it Camsol? There's a couple of different products that will do that, where you can kind of edit the page. Because Because AI, you know, I don't know why this chick has 4 thumbs, but she sure does.
Yeah, it gets crazy. I would rather just buy from coloring book artists that are real people.
I mean, I agree, but you know, our audience out here.
Oh yeah, no, I was
may not know how to pick them and end up with one.
And they're like, what the hey? Yeah. But it takes some talent to do the edits too. You definitely have to do something for me that required the drawing in. I'm not the best at drawing.
Yeah, drawing is a very specific form of art. And I know lots of really great artists that are really good visual artists, but don't ask them to draw. They'll look at you like you lost your mind. Like, oh no, I can't draw. They can use a computer to do it, or they can, or they're really good at, you know, like abstract painting or things like that. But like sitting down and sketching somebody and it looking just like that person isn't there. It's not something all artists are good at. Some artists are better. I'm actually better at drawing landscapes than I am at drawing people, but I can draw people. I can draw almost anything, given enough time and motivation. But I enjoy landscaping more, I think. If I'm going to paint, I like the landscape. Or not paint, but draw. Draw, paint, pastel. Well, I do like this. I love doing these statuettes and miniatures. Those other ones just take a lot to do those pastels. It's a lot to get a full landscape drawn and colored in and all that. Big undertaking. We'll have to do one day.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, take a couple episodes. I think we need a whole new camera setup. Hear that, YouTube? I need you to pay me some more. I need to pay me some money so I can buy stuff for the studio. We're only going to expand if you come and pay for it. 54 minutes. Okay, let's go ahead and knock out the underneath of this cloak. Have all this done. I'm wondering if there's any freehand we need to do on this cloak. It'd be fun to do some freehand stuff on it. It's so big and spread out and easy to work on. We've had some big cloaks before, but they were real ruffly. And Melania's cloak already had the stuff in there, so we didn't have to freehand anything. It had a design. Malika's cloak was so ruffly, it was just hard to get on there and do it right. Use every last bit of this paint today. I like that. I like not having leftover paint. I think that's the Scotsman in me. Like, oh no, that's wasteful. Or maybe just the chef. The chef, I really didn't like waste. Bit of both, maybe. Bit of both. Okay. I'm in pretty good shape now. All that rest of that stuff's going to be underneath the other cloak. Because this has like 2 parts to it. I don't know. Weird. Awesome. Well, that's going to be it for me. Let's take a look at what Miss Kristen has been working on. Because it's really cool. I'm really excited about this piece that she's got.
Finally moved on to something else.
Finally moved on to something else. Let's come up a little bit. There we go. So, it's definitely an Idris, a crane in the sky with other cranes, and it has a Japanese style pagoda castle thing going on there. It look really, really cool. Little cherry blossoms and little lanterns and such. Super fun.
Such a fun book.
So, that's her work in progress. The work on progress Wednesday. And we're going to be back. I'll be back tomorrow. She's got to go back to her regularly scheduled job program, and I'm going to be here doing this regularly scheduled program. And we'll get. Looks like we're going to be started painting, because that's going to be dry and ready to go by tomorrow. So we're going to be rocking and rolling. Have to get us some. Have to get us a few pictures to look at for source material. And we're going to do that tomorrow. I'll have those ready for us to look at, and we're going to get rocking and rolling on him, because this thing's going to go right along. Anyway, that's been awesome. Thank you so much for coming by. Really appreciate everybody who stuck around and said hello. Jared, and of course my lovely mother. And that's going to be us for the day. Anything you want to say?
No.
Awesome. You guys have a great day. Thank you so much. Bye.